Hey guys, I'm here with another limited review for Magic Origins. This time we're going to focus on the top uncommon and the top three commons that we have in blue. Um, and so let's go ahead and get started. We once again have some honorable mentions for blue uncommons. It was hard to pick the best blue uncommon. I think I picked what is the best blue uncommon, but I think it's up for debate. So let's talk about the honorable mentions for best blue uncommon. Um, Jesse and Thief is going to be really good. I think that's pretty obvious. I think most people, any card that when it deals combat damage to a player draws you a card is good. But they also gave it a pretty efficient body, 3 for a 1/3, and it also has prowess. So if you swing with it, leave all your lands untapped, and your opponent has, let's say, a 2/2 in play, they're going to be a little shy about blocking it because you could have a spell that will pump your Jesse and Thief somehow because of prowess. And because of that, they'll be a little less likely to block, a couple early swings from Jesse and Thief, and it'll probably draw you a few cards. So Jesse and Thief is going to be very good. I think that's pretty clear. Scab Goliath is another card that I think is really interesting. It's been a really long time since Blue has had a huge, efficiently costed beater at uncommon, especially in any format. But they have one in Scab Goliath. Blue Black has kind of a zombie sub theme. So there's some things that could benefit them. There are cards that return zombies from your graveyard to your hand and things like that. So there's cards that benefit him that way. But there are more cards in Blue Black. Blue Black seems to sort of be a graveyard manipulation archetype in this set, and I think Scab Goliath fits into that. There's multiple ways to fill your graveyard with stuff. By turn 6, frequently you're going to have 2 creature cards in your graveyard anyway. I mean, you're also not going to be shy about blocking, and trading early. It's going to be a lot like Delve was in all of the Tarkir block stuff. And I think Scab Goliath is going to be a really good finisher for blue at an efficient cost. It's got trample too, as you can see, but I didn't mention that. So 6 for a 6/9 trample is really good, even with the minor setback of exiling 2 creature cards from your graveyard. It's just a house. I think he's going to be a big finisher for the blue decks. So those are our honorable mentions for best blue uncommon. What I think is the best blue uncommon, though, is this guy, Whirler Rogue, which is 4 mana for a 2/2. And when it enters the battlefield, it puts 2 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. Then it has tap 2 untapped artifacts you control. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Now, it's we just talked about the blue-black archetype, which is what the Scab Goliath fits into. This card is more for the blue-red archetype, which is going to be all about artifacts and has lots of Thopter token abilities. But this is good in any deck, even if you don't have a bunch of other artifacts. You have 4 power for 4, and 2 of it has evasion, and you can also tap those to make your other guys unblockable. It's a really good card. It's going to be even better, obviously, in a deck with tons of artifacts, especially extra artifacts that you can tap down. And in that archetype, I think it's going to be a really powerful card. And it's just a really efficient, really powerful card. I mean, there's not much else to say about it. All right, so we'll move on to the best blue commons, which I think are in this order. I didn't have, just like in white, I thought picking the best blue commons was a lot easier. One thing that maybe could make the list is Disperse, which is 2 in a blue, and it's return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, which is pretty good. But I don't think it's incredible. I think these 3 are better. We have a Ring Warden Owl, who's 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer, and also has prowess. So it's another finisher blue has that can be really problematic for people. It can get big pretty easily. These decks are going to have a lot of non-creature spells to pump up their creatures with prowess, like the Jesse and Thief and like Ring Warden Owl. It's just an efficiently costed, strong finisher at common for blue. It's a lot like Ojutai Interceptors. Kind of reminds me of the same sort of feel. An efficiently costed flying finisher for blue, which is something we just saw recently. And Ojutai Interceptors was a highly successful card, even though it only had 2 toughness. And this has 3, and it can get even more. So I think it's comparable to the Interceptors. The one thing it doesn't have that the Interceptors had is Morph, so you could play it turn 3 and then flip it up at some later time. But still, I think Ring Warden Owl is good. I think the second best card's probably Claustrophobia. It's probably the best blue removal spell at common or uncommon. Blue didn't get a lot of removal in this format. But Claustrophobia is pretty good. It's 3 mana, double blue, 1 and a double blue to tap a creature down and keep it from untapping ever again, and it's an enchantment, so it works with all your prowess effects too, which, as we have seen, that the 2 of the creatures we discussed have prowess. So it's a really good card, really good removal spell that can be used on a lot of things. It's all creatures basically suffer by being tapped, so it's very good. And then I think the best common is probably Separatist Void Mage. I think 1 and 2 in my list here may be maybe more interchangeable, but I think Separatist Void Mage is very good. Reminds me a little bit of Aven Surveyor. Obviously, it's not as good. Aven Surveyor was basically the best blue common in Fate Reforged. I think it was. I'd say it was the best blue common in Fate Reforged in the end. And Separatist Void Mage right now I have as the best blue common. This is before I've played the format. All of these are sort of just speculation at this point. Once you start playing, things get moved around. These are my first impressions, and I think Separatist Void Mage is going to be strong like Aven Surveyor. Maybe not quite as strong. Like I said, it doesn't have flying, but it does cost 1 mana less to bounce a dude to the opponent's hand. It's a big tempo boost, and you get a guy on the ground at the same time. So it's a pretty strong effect. 2/2 body for 4 isn't awful. I mean, if that's all it was, you wouldn't play it. But for a bounce effect on top of it, it's an incredibly powerful tempo swing that can help your blue deck get to the later game, or help you swing in for more damage on the turn you play your Void Mage. So I think it's a really good card. It'll be good in any of the blue archetypes. All of these 3 cards really will be good in any of the blue archetypes, which is good because they're all common and they'll sort of fit into any of them. So I think blue is going to be a pretty strong color. I'm a little disappointed blue didn't get really good removal. There's one other bounce spell, and there's Claustrophobia. And that's basically it at common and uncommon for blue. I mean, the Void Mage is kind of a removal spell too, but he's only good because there's also a body attached to it, really. Bounce is good, but it's not as good as something like Claustrophobia or Narcolepsy, which we saw in Modern Masters 2015 as being a really good removal spell. So yeah, that's blue. I think it's going to be a pretty good color, and that's what I think are the best commons and uncommons. Let me know what you think are the best commons and uncommons in blue, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for watching.